The wooden cage barely contained the three small bodies huddled together, their ragged clothes and hollow eyes betraying a life of hardship. Magnolia Voss, a widow who hadn't felt anything but grief in 2 years, froze when the smallest child whispered a name that shattered her world, Thomas. Her son's name, buried with him after the river claimed him. She'd ridden into town that morning for supplies, intending to return to her empty ranch. The market square buzzed with merchants, horses, and swirling dust, but Magnolia kept her head down, dodging the pitying glances that followed her everywhere. Then the auctioneer's voice cut through the noise, hawking, 3 young workers, hardy stock, no trouble to feed. Her eyes found the makeshift platform where a greasy man gestured toward a pen. Inside, 3 children sat motionless, Eli, about 12, his arms protectively around his siblings, Ruby, 8, with tangled hair and eyes too old for her face. And Samuel, 6, pressing into them as if to vanish. Their despair mirrored Magnolia's own, a reflection of the emptiness she'd carried since losing her husband and son. Orphans from the mission house, someone whispered. Been through 4 homes. Nobody wants kids who won't speak. The bidding began, low and callous, ranchers seeking cheap labor, a boarding house matron, men with darker intentions. Magnolia's stomach churned as the children were discussed like livestock. Then Samuel's eyes met hers, and his lips formed that impossible whisper, Thomas. The world stopped. Her son would have been 7 now, his laughter still haunting her dreams. Samuel's gaze held a knowing intensity, as if he understood her loss. $50, Magnolia called, her voice slicing through the auctioneer's pitch. The crowd stared at the reclusive widow, but she saw only the children. The gavel fell, and her hands shook as she paid, each bill peeling away her carefully built isolation. The auctioneer handed her a paper to sign, Eli, Ruby, Samuel, ages 12, 8, 6, no known relatives, wards of the county. He passed her a rusty key, warning, they don't talk much. Trauma, the sisters said. Might never be right. Magnolia knelt by the cage, unlocking it. The children didn't move, their eyes wary, expecting pain. I'm Magnolia, she said softly. You're safe now. Eli shielded his siblings, his gaze hard. Ruby curled into herself. Samuel watched her, still clutching that knowing look. I have a ranch outside town, she continued. Food, clean beds, no one will hurt you. They remained still, likely burned by broken promises before. Then Magnolia did something reckless, she climbed into the cage, ignoring the rough wood snagging her dress. The cramped space smelled of fear and resignation. Thomas was my son, she whispered to Samuel. He was 6 when he died, like you. Something flickered in his eyes, recognition, perhaps. He loved stories, apple pie, and was scared of thunderstorms. I'd hold him until they passed. Samuel's small hand touched hers, a human connection that jolted her heart. But as she helped them out, she noticed rope burns on their wrists, hidden under ragged sleeves. Her blood ran cold. What had she rescued them from? The wagon ride to her ranch was tense, the children scanning the horizon as if expecting pursuit. Magnolia's attempts at conversation met silence. Her ranch appeared desolate through their eyes, the house silent, the corral empty, an apple tree heavy with unpicked fruit. This is home, she said, then winced at the words wait. Eli scanned for danger, helping Ruby down, but Samuel hesitated, his eyes fixed on a weathered wooden horse on the porch, Thomas's toy, left there since the accident. Samuel approached it, tracing its carved mane with reverence. That was my son's, Magnolia said, kneeling beside him. His name was Thomas. Samuel's gaze met hers, intelligent despite his trauma. He tried to speak but stopped, frustrated. It's okay, she said. You don't have to talk yet. Inside, she showed them Thomas's room, unchanged since his death, his quilt, clothes, books untouched. Ruby whispered, whose room is this? My sons, Magnolia replied, wondering if it was cruel to place them here. Samuel walked to the bookshelf, pulling out a worn fairy tale book, Thomas's favorite. He opened it to the story of the brave little knight, one Thomas had loved. Magnolia's breath caught. How did you know? She asked. Eli answered, Samuel remembers everything he sees. But how could he know this book, never taken from the house? Over dinner, Magnolia asked, where did you come from? Eli's voice was rough. Our aunt, after our parents died. She got sick, couldn't keep us. And the mission? Magnolia pressed. Ruby trembled. Sister Margaret locked us in the cellar, she whispered. For days, if we cried. Eli's jaw clenched. She said we were ungrateful, needed obedience. Samuel stared out the window, tense, as if watching for something. She said she'd find us, he whispered. Sister Margaret thinks God says we belong to her. That night, Magnolia barely slept, her rifle close, every sound a potential threat. At dawn, Samuel appeared, clutching the fairy tale book. Couldn't sleep, she asked. He shook his head. Thomas woke early too, she said, mixing pancake batter. Nearly burned the house down cooking. Samuel almost smiled, opening the book to a story of brothers surviving a storm. Did Thomas like this one? He asked, his first full sentence. Magnolia's heart ached, his voice echoed Thomas's. He loved it, she said. It reminded him families stick together. As Eli and Ruby joined them, horses approached. Samuel paled, Ruby shook. Upstairs, Magnolia ordered. Hide in my closet. She grabbed her rifle as 3 riders appeared. Sister Margaret, severe and righteous, flanked by 2 hard-eyed men. Mrs. Voss, she called, you have something that belongs to me. They're legally mine, Magnolia replied, rifle ready. Sister Margaret's smile was cold. Legal papers mean nothing against God's will. Those children need discipline to break the devil out of them. Magnolia's voice was firm. They need safety and kindness. Sister Margaret's tone turned sinister. Samuel's valuable, Mrs. Voss. His memory, he recalls everything perfectly. Very useful for certain businessmen. The truth hit Magnolia, Samuel's gift explained his knowledge of Thomas's book. You used him as a spy, she said, disgusted. Sister Margaret didn't flinch. I taught him to serve God's chosen. One man, Garrett, drew his gun. Enough talk. Get the kids. But Samuel stepped onto the porch, fearless. I remember everything you did, he said. Every night in the cellar, every time you hurt Ruby and Eli. Sister Margaret paled. Samuel continued, I remember Mr. Garrett visiting the mission, what you told him about the banker's wife, Mr. Davidson's debts, Sheriff Collins's money. Garrett's face darkened as Samuel recited precise, ruinous details. I remember the night you killed Mr. Henderson, Samuel said. You shot him behind his barn because he knew about the blackmail. Sister Margaret's composure shattered. You little devil, she hissed, lunging forward. Magnolia blocked her, rifle steady. You're not touching them. Samuel spoke again. Sheriff Collins is coming with deputies. I sent Eli to get him. Hooves thundered, and Sheriff Collins arrived, dismounting calmly. Got a story from Eli about murder and blackmail, he said. Samuel recounted everything, names, dates, the ledger hidden under the mission's altar. Sister Margaret and Garrett were arrested, their crimes exposed by a 6-year-old's perfect memory. Sheriff Collins produced adoption papers, signed that morning. Magnolia's their legal guardian now, he said. The children stared at her, awestruck. As the dust settled, Samuel took her hand. Thank you for saving us. Tears fell as Magnolia knelt. Thank you for saving me. That evening, she read them Thomas's favorite fairy tale. The house, empty for so long, felt alive again. Under the desert stars, a new family began, bound by courage, love, and the healing power of broken hearts coming together.